Welcome to Queer, the festival podcast inviting people to tell us about how it is to be LGBTQ+ today. For a pilot episode, we're in Southwest England with two teenagers. Enjoy!
So, how is it to be gay in England?
I think it's good.
You think it's good?
Yeah.
I think it's easier than being gay in some places. Like, obviously, England is a very good country. Unless you're a victim of a hate crime, nothing bad's going to happen. You're not going to get, arrested. You're not going to get in trouble for it. But, there are still people that are really hateful towards you. And, you can get bullied in school. You can, have people say stuff to you on the street. Yeah, it's social, not political.
In public, I feel like people can judge me. And I get very scared. So, I try and hide it.
Yeah, me and my best friend, we had a pride at school, and we walked down the main road wearing pride flags, and we were holding hands, but we weren't together. And this man walked past us and said he was on the phone. He was like, "Am I allowed to swear?"
Yeah, I
know. Okay.
I don't
He
know.
was like, "Oh, I love fucking smashing faggots' heads in." He said it while passing us so that we could hear it. It's kind of stuff that happens. It's normal that happens.
It's low key.
Yeah. It's not you'll get beat up, but it's people will say stuff.
I was going to ask, do people get beat up?
It's very rare.
It's very rare, but it does happen.
It's mainly in school bullying.
Verbal, yeah, mainly verbal stuff.
I went to an all-boys school, and people there didn't approve of me, and they thought I was weird. They just called me names, and I got beat up in a toilet.
Wasn't it on your birthday?
On my birthday.
Oh, no.
Yeah, when I turned 16, they beat me up.
Intentionally on your birthday?
I think so, I don't know. I've been called fag.
Yeah, that's a big, that's a big slur.
Just a lot of words, really.
In my first school, I pretended that I was straight and cis, so people wouldn't say stuff to me, but they'd say stuff about gay people to me.
Yeah.
So I thought that my identity was wrong, so I hid it for ages. But then when I came out in my new school, which is all girls school, there's still people that will say stuff, but I'm trying to not let it affect me, and I'm trying to be a role model for the younger students, because I run the safe space, so I'm trying to show them not to let it affect them. Their words don't mean anything to who you are or who you love. It doesn't mean anything.
My new school is a lot better. People are nice, and nobody really judges anyone for who they are. People just accept it. And even if they don't approve, they don't voice it. They just kind of keep it to themselves.
I get that in my philosophy course, because obviously we talk about gay rights. And there is a Christian girl. I know that she doesn't agree with LGBT people, but she wouldn't vote against us because it's kind of our lives to live. It's not affecting her. But she could affect us, but she chooses not to.
We talked about school and public spaces. How is it in your families?
Well, I told my older sister when I was drunk, and then she told my twin sister, and then my twin sister and me and my older sister all spoke about it. Also my twin sister came out, and then my older sister also told my mum, but me and my mum haven't spoken about it. And my dad also doesn't know because he's quite old and homophobic. It's okay, but I don't really want to. I don't feel comfortable.
I feel a lot of media is not made for gay people. It's made for straight people, especially lesbian porn, for example. Although that's not in the immediate media, it's a very obvious thing that it's not made for lesbians. It's made for straight men, because some straight men get off on that. And I feel it's become a really popular thing to kind of support LGBT people in the community, just to support it, not to actually just support it so that they have a good name. When brands kind of just throw a rainbow in and everybody makes a big deal about it, but that's not actually helping anything. They're not doing anything to raise awareness of all the stuff going on.
Last year you had blank Skittles.
Yeah, I feel that was better than some brands, because on the packet it said the only rainbow that matters this month is the LGBT rainbow. So that was nice. It was nice to have that. But it's when YouTube last year in Pride, they kind of just put a like a pride flag. Brands like
take advantage of pride for marketing.
yeah.
Do you feel like you have like models of like characters that you can identify to?
I think they're all
No.
very stereotyped.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really relate to them.
And plus, I feel like even though like there's more characters now than there was like 10 years ago.
Do you feel like it's a brand?
They use it for comedy.
Fashion.
Yeah, like it's kind of like, oh, let's throw
Just
like
the
a
brands.
token gay in there.
I found stuff online that made me excited when I was like 11 years old. I didn't know what I was doing, and it just kind of happened. Then I denied it, and then I accepted it. It took me like 3 years from when I first started looking at these online things to accept myself.
I literally didn't even realise until we were in this like massive school assembly. It was like the whole school, and it was really, really, really boring. I was just kind of sat there thinking like, wow, boobs are really hot. Like, I was like, boobs are beautiful. Because at that time I was like in a mixed school and it was quite homophobic. So I kind of thought it was disgusting. Like, I was like disgusted with myself. So like it took me like 3 years to kind of come out. And like I had to move schools. I didn't move schools just because I was gay, but when I moved schools, I found like a much like more accepting environment. Like, something just didn't click. Like, when people referred to me as a girl, I was like, I don't really feel like a girl. As a kid, I was like very feminine. Like, I loved pink things. I loved dolls. But then like as I grew up, like I kind of started like pushing away the things that people gave me. Like, I didn't just want to play with girls' toys. I didn't just want to do the things girls were doing. I didn't fully relate to that. But then it was only kind of like last year when I fully realised like that I had a label and like I could be labelled as non-binary and agender, and it kind of like opened up a whole range of possibilities, because all my life I've been told you're a girl, like, and you've been told you're a boy. And then all of a sudden it was like I've been given a choice to express myself. So I like have a YouTube channel with my best friend who's a lesbian, and we kind of just talk about like gay stuff. It's like a bit of fun, and also like it raises awareness. And then like in school I run the kind of like pride group, so like it's a group where people can come if they're LGBT, and like it's like anonymous, like no one knows who goes. So it's like basically a support group for like LGBT kids, and we have a Instagram for it, and we also have like a board in the school, so like it has like representation when you're walking around school. And then I also do like assemblies on gender and sexuality, and I organise like a mini pride for the school. I was asked by my English teacher to do a talk to her year 7 class about LGBT and like being trans, because obviously I'm like not one of the only trans sixth formers. There are quite a few, but I'm head of like the LGBT, and also I'm trans, so like I like talk to them about kind of like the difference between like your body and your gender, and then I do whole school assemblies about what it's like to be LGBT, like what it's like to be treated like badly because of that, and like that was kind of brought on because there was a lot of bullying recently in our school, in like the lower years, like year 9, so that's like 13-year-olds kind of picking on the gay students, and I had to like do a talk about that. My head teacher, he's really kind of supportive, and he likes it when I talk about it, because he really wants to make the school inclusive and diverse, but it was a younger student that asked me to do it because they were being bullied, so they said, could you like maybe do something to help my situation? So I spoke to my head teacher about it, and he then said you could do assembly, so I decided to do a talk. The person who was being bullied, it like loosened up, because I talked about how like they can get in serious trouble for being gay, and then I also said how teachers are obligated to help you if you're being bullied. Like, it doesn't matter if they agree with you or not.
Equality Act.
Yeah, the Equality Act. Basically, it protects like LGBT kids. So their situation got better, but for me, like, it kind of got worse. Like, people would say stuff about me. One assembly went kind of bad. Like, a girl started laughing and the head teacher had to, like, make her move. But I still think even that was good because the head teacher, like, made an example of the girl, like, told her off. It's like normalizing it. Like, the assembly's kind of like normalized it. Even if people say stuff about me, I'm not ashamed. Like, yeah, I'm LGBT. That's not like a bad thing. I was like terrified because obviously with being like bullied before in my old school, it's kind of like I like find it hard to. Well, public speaking's hard normally.
Yeah, even harder.
Yeah, because like it's my peers. Like, I knew that obviously there would be some people that didn't agree with me, but I felt like it was more important to talk about that than kind of give in to my fear. Like, I had to like stand up. There's like one or two that like there's a Irish Catholic lady who doesn't support it and kind of says stuff to me like, oh, do you change your name every week? And it's like, it's not mean, but it's like a jab, and it's like, well, no, of course I don't change my name every week. But most of them are lovely. Like, I could go to so many of my teachers if I had a problem. Like, if any of the kids said anything, I could go to loads of them. I kind of like explained that trans is like a very big like umbrella term. So within like the term trans, there's female to male transgender, male to female transgender, and then all the non-binary genders, which is just when you don't identify as like either a boy or a girl. There's so many like gender fluid, agender, bigender, like there's a lot of them. Transgender just means you don't identify as the gender you're born with. So non-binary, obviously you don't identify, like I don't identify as a female, so I'm non-binary. But like if I identified as a male, I'd be like female to male transgender. There's like my gender, which is agender, which means I don't like identify as like any gender. You can identify as a boy and a girl as non-binary. Like there's gender fluid, which is like when sometimes you feel like a boy, sometimes you feel like a girl, sometimes you don't really feel like any gender. It's like different things. Like there's also bigender, when you can identify as two genders, or demi-guy, when you kind of feel like a guy but a bit of you doesn't fully identify with the gender. And there's that with demi-girl too. So there's like a whole range of stuff. Like gender's on a complete spectrum. Like there's even sex is on a spectrum. Like there's male, female, and then like intersex, which is people who are born like with both female and male genitalia. Trans people and non-binary people have been around for a really long time. They just haven't had like the representation. It's hard to like label yourself as something if you don't get given that label. So there will have been lots of trans people who just didn't have the right words, and they would have been labelled as like mentally ill, so they would have been sent somewhere. But there's lots of cultures where like they have non-binary genders. Like to be non-binary is like a spirit gender. That I don't really know how to fully explain it because obviously it's not my culture, but I know that like historically it does go back quite far. And obviously in the Stonewall riots, it was started by a black trans woman, and I think that's really important to kind of talk about because obviously she helped us get like she took the first step, and a lot of the time like it's kind of the focus is on like gay and lesbian people, but I think it's equally as important to talk about because like obviously trans people play a big part in LGBT history is what I'm trying to say. But I feel like it's kind of like easier to like not easier to be gay, but like it's less noticeable. So I feel like with trans people in history, like they would not have been able to transition or speak freely about it. So they would have just had to live their lives as the gender they were born as. There's like a debate on whether Shakespeare was like a boy or a girl, but that's more about the fact that Shakespeare was a female, but she couldn't write as a female because obviously girls couldn't write plays at that time. So they went like a lot of women like pretended to be guys so that they could get further in their career, but that's not really like transgender.
Yeah. How do you feel that your romantic relationships might be different compared to heteronormative ones?
They feel natural to me, so I don't really feel like they're that different. I think it's just the way that other people perceive them as being different makes it different.
Because obviously I'm like bi, so I've like dated guys and I've dated girls. I feel like it's a lot harder to kind of be in a lesbian relationship, like to find a girl to date than it is to find a boy. I also feel less like trapped when I'm in a lesbian relationship, because with like heteronormative relationships there's all these like rules and boundaries. Then in a gay relationship it's kind of like new, like there's not really set rules or things that you're meant to do, so it's like easier to be yourself. Because I feel like traditional relationships, it's always been like, well, really traditionally, you date, you marry, you have sex. You don't have to conform to the way.
I feel like I don't have to conform. Well, for me, I don't really know what a straight relationship's like, so.
But like in comparison to like your friends, you
don't have role models.
I feel like recently it's got better. Like I feel like with characters, when they're written into like movies, TV shows, they're kind of stereotypical, written in kind of for a punchline. But then when there are like actresses and actors who are gay, like Ruby Rose, Oscar Wilde, I feel like they're the kind of people that I have as role models. Although the characters are really not good role models, but then there are some really inspiring. Yeah.
This was Queer, the Fast About podcast, inviting people to tell us about how it is to be LGBTQ+ today. Subscribe to the Albatross Project on our YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter account, on Facebook page to stay informed about our latest news. Give us likes and share. See you soon.
Thanks for listening.